everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we don't really have a lot going on. We're starting my February TBR, and we're continuing to listen to the Count of Monte Cristo. And that's kind of it. That's all we have going on. So let's just jump into it. So, as I mentioned, starting my February TBR, I used my spinning wheel to decide what book I would be starting with, and it picked The Man with the Golden Torc. Now, this is about a guy who's part of this, like, family business, although the family is very large, who sort of work in the background and protect humanity from supernatural, paranormal events that could cause harm. And the synopsis says that he is sort of set up to be declared rogue, and in the family, if someone is rogue, they kind of hunt you down a little bit. And so now he's trying to prove that he did not do what he's accused of. I read about 75 pages. I've been reading for a couple hours, and I'm DNFing. This is my first DNF of the year, and there's a couple reasons. One, I'm just not connecting to the writing style. So this came out in 2007, and I think that, I don't know if that's why I'm not connecting to the writing style. I doubt it, because I read books from a variety of times. I think it's just this author's style is not working for me. It feels very kind of like thriller noir-esque writing, just kind of dry and blunt, which is fine, I guess, but I also, like, not connecting to the main character. But the main thing that sort of made me decide that I'm done is that the main character, whose name is Eddie, he left the family, like, estate and kind of the family when he was 18, which was 10 years ago. And he is summoned to return back to the estate for instructions about this new mission. And he's going around, and there are parts where he's like, oh yeah, you know, I would go here, like, when I was growing up, and all these sort of things. But then there are other parts where he's like, oh, this thing or this character, I know all about it. Like, sort of implying that, like, nothing has changed in 10 years. And, like, the part I was just in, he went and talked to the armorer, who, again, he has not seen for a decade. And the armorer is complaining about the matriarch's husband and, like, some efficiency program or something. And Eddie is like, oh yeah, that's Alistair. I'm like, you don't know him. Like, you barely know him from when he was a kid, or when Eddie was a kid. But, like, you don't know him. And you don't know their dynamic. And, like, it felt either like Eddie is just a presumptuous asshole who thinks the world revolves around him and nothing ever changes unless he's there, or, like, the author cannot, like, explain or explore a dynamic without it being clear that, like, Eddie doesn't know what he's talking about. And I think that particular thing is also making me not connect to Eddie. So I'm DNFing. I cannot do it. I think also part of it is that I had asked Siri how many chapters I should read, and she said 23, which is the amount of chapters in the book. So I was going to try to read it all today, which obviously I'm not now. But I did, as a way to, like, maybe motivate myself to continue reading it before I decided DNF, I did use my spinning wheel to figure out what my next book would be. And it is The Dogs of Venice, which is about this guy whose marriage sort of implodes, and he decides to go to Venice, which was a holiday that he was going to take with his husband, and he goes alone, and he ends up like finding this stray dog and sort of like following the dog around Venice. It sounds very cute. It's also very short. It's like 60, 70 pages. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this because I had already planned on reading for the rest of the night, and I don't really want to do anything else now because I'm annoyed at this. It does also suck because, like, so this came out in 2007. I know that I got this at a Comic-Con, which was probably C2E2. I apparently got it signed, and I'm gonna give it away. That's fine. I didn't connect it. I also found out that there are 12 books in this series, which, no, I can't do that either. So, I'm gonna read this and probably check in tomorrow with, like, my review of it, and then I will figure out what I'll be reading after that. So, after... I'm just jumping right in, because I haven't really had anything going on, really. After I DNF'd The Man with the Golden Torc, I started reading The Dogs of Venice, which is about this man named Paul who had planned this, like, romantic vacation for him and his husband to Venice, and maybe like a week or something, maybe 2 weeks before they were supposed to go, his husband breaks up with him, essentially. And so Paul goes alone, and he is processing and trying to just figure out, like, what is his life gonna be like now? And while he's, you know, sort of reflecting and trying to figure out who he wants to be, he sees this dog that's wandering the canals of Venice, and he's really taken with this dog and the, like, seeming, like, confidence that this dog has. And so he sort of starts taking inspiration from this dog that he sees. And so it's really interesting. It's only like 62 pages, I believe, but it's really interesting. There were parts that made me like really sad because I could see myself in Paul, and taking inspiration from a dog does sound like something I would do. So I really related to him. But it ultimately had like a happy, not like a like romance happy ending, but like a happy ending for Paul, where he feels this like confidence in himself. So I really liked it. I felt like, I don't know, I simultaneously felt like there could have been more and there could have been less. So it wasn't like perfect, but I did give it 4 stars because I did really like it, and I would probably enjoy rereading it in well, it's winter right now, but like closer to like Christmas, because it takes place in the days of Christmas in Venice. So yeah, that's what I ended up reading Monday night after I DNF'd the book. And then Tuesday, so yesterday, I started reading How to Keep House While Drowning, which is a book about helping people with executive functioning difficulties sort of like reframe and like hack their brain to accomplish things, and but also like not focus on perfection. And I really like it. I've read like 65 pages, I believe. I really like it because, like, one, the chapters are very short, which is makes sense because it's mainly written for like people with attention issues as well. But the main thing is that it keeps reiterating like chores, but it calls it care tasks. They're not morality issues. Like not being able to do the dishes every day doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And I think people, including myself, with executive functioning issues sort of struggle with that, because like I was telling someone last week that the reason I didn't like ask a follow-up question about something that they said that didn't make sense to me was because I didn't want to look stupid, because I had been treated as stupid in like school or by people I thought were friends if I asked a question to what they thought was a very simple direction, and it didn't make sense to me. They acted like I was stupid, and I'm not. I just think differently, and the things that they said didn't make sense. So I really like that, especially because, like, I do also have that, like, association with, like, chores and stuff of, like, oh, if my house isn't clean or tidy, like, I'm lazy, or I'm failing at being a homeowner, or I'm failing at being a wife, or something like that. Like, there's these, like, negative associations with, like, not staying, like, on top of tidiness. And this book does a really good job of, like, just, like, reiterating, like, I'd say every couple chapters of, like, just because your house is not pristine does not mean you are a bad person. It doesn't mean you're failing. And it's all about essentially making the house work for you. Because it's like, it brings up a good point of, if you're not able to, like, this was one of the examples of, like, if you're not able to take the laundry, like, to your bedroom and fold it and put it away in a reasonable time, why do you have to do that? Like, does it work for you and your family to just have, like, a dirty laundry basket and a clean laundry basket, and people pull things out of the clean laundry basket? Like, do you have to fold everything? Or are there, like, a couple things that, like, shouldn't be, like, wrinkled or whatever, that should be hung up, and then the rest, like, do you have to fold? Like, do you have to fold your underwear? And it's one of those things of, like, I guess not. I guess you don't have to fold your underwear. Crazy. Or, like, socks. Like, folding socks is, like, the worst thing in the world. I don't even bother with Chris's anymore. I just put them in a big pile. So it's just, like, things like that where they're just kind of, like, hacks a little bit. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's 151 pages, and I've read, like, 65, so I think that's, like, 43% or something. I don't know. But I don't know if I'll finish it today, but I will finish it probably tomorrow, I would imagine, and then I will start reading Gadsby, which is a novel written without the letter E. And on the back of it, if you watch my TBR video, you know this, but on the back of it, it says it is not a particularly compelling story. But it's well known because it doesn't use the letter E, which I don't believe. But I am I'm looking forward to starting it to see if I can find a letter E. I'm not necessarily looking forward to reading it. So there's that. And then the only other thing is, yesterday I worked on a puzzle for a little bit that I haven't touched in months. But I worked on that, and I listened to The Count of Monte Cristo for about an hour. So I think I listened to, like, 3 chapters. So that was good as well. Because I don't necessarily want to be reading The Count of Monte Cristo all through February as well. So I did put puzzle as an option on my spinning wheel to have some listening time there. So, okay, that's it. I'm going to go to work and listen to more of The Count of Monte Cristo. I do not remember the last time I filmed. I want to say it was Wednesday. Yeah, I think that's right. So, Wednesday I had kind of a rough day. But I did listen to about an hour of The Count of Monte Cristo, and things are happening. So that was exciting. I'm looking forward to the end, not because I'm not enjoying it, but just, like, I want to see the culmination of all of The Count of Monte Cristo's manipulations. So I'm pretty excited about that. But it's to a point where I don't think I can talk about, like, details just because spoilers. And I think it, honestly, I think this book is a lot of fun if you go in, like, kind of blind. Like, the only thing I knew about this story was that it was about revenge. And so everything else I've just been just experiencing it. And I wish that I was, able to listen to more, but, at the end of the work day, sometimes it's hard depending on what sort of day I had. Like Wednesday night, I was, not in a good mood, and so I chose not to listen to it because I wouldn't have been able to focus. And because I'm enjoying it and wanting to know more of the story, I want to be able to focus. So there's that. And then yesterday, so Thursday, I went to a coffee shop with Stephanie for a few hours just because I've been wanting to have a coffee shop day, and it was really nice to just hang out with my friend and each of us do our own thing, and then we would talk. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was pretty productive. And I read 40 pages of How to Keep House While Drowning. So I have 50 pages left, I think. I'm hopeful that I would be able to finish it today, but it's still really useful. It's still giving really good hacks and ways to sort of reframe how we look at household chores or care tasks, as she calls them. So yeah, so that's really good as well. And then I'm working from home today, so I have some time to sort of just chill out. And I made the decision to not post last week's vlog today. I originally was going to think about that because I uploaded my TBR on Tuesday, but because I have Les Mis on my TBR and I have a feeling that I will end up getting to it, I kind of want a buffer so that I can make a 2-week vlog that is just Les Mis and that not throw off my posting schedule. So I'm sort of not holding on to last week's vlog because it'll go up on Tuesday, but I'm not so focused on getting as caught up as possible because I kind of want that buffers just in case. Although I think that I may just decide okay, no, I'm gonna read Les Mis because I have this, so it's serving as an extra motivation to actually just read Les Mis. so yeah, there's that. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. Okay, so I'm ending the vlog a little bit late, but it's fine. I had a really rough weekend. There's just a lot of things going on that were impacting me emotionally, and so I didn't film any updates, and that's fine. So I didn't listen to Count of Monte Cristo on Sunday because I just wasn't feeling it. Quite honestly. No, I didn't sleep well Saturday night, and so I was very tired. So on my way home, or on my way to work, I just listened to music, listened to commentary from the Olympics, and on my way home, I listened to the Super Bowl pre-game show because Green Day was performing. So yeah, so I didn't listen to Count of Monte Cristo anymore after Friday, which I think I've already talked about because I puzzled. If I didn't talk about it, there you go. On Saturday, I kind of crashed out a little bit. I laid in my bed for 6 hours, and I was already feeling bad about that because I felt like I wasn't being productive, which is not a helpful mindset to be in. But I'm all right, well, I'll start. I don't want to get up and get the book I'm currently reading, which was How to Keep House While Drowning. And so I started reading Gadsby, which was going to be my next book. And I read the first chapter on Saturday, which was 20 pages. And then Sunday, when we were at our friend's house for the Super Bowl, I was never going to watch this game. Neither of the teams I really care about, neither of the teams were honestly that good. this year. They just kind of lucked into the Super Bowl. The only reason I was there was because Chris wanted me to be, and so that I could watch the halftime show. So, hello. Reese just ran in here. So, I continued reading Gadsby. I'll focus on that. I continued reading Gadsby, and it is a novel that was written, a 50,000 word novel that was written without the use of the letter E. And you might be wondering, like, how is that possible? And my answer is that it's not. At least not if you want to be able to read it. Or I feel like my general takeaway, because I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it in the middle of the second chapter, because I had already, like, had a really rough weekend, and then, like, trying to read that nonsense, I'm like, no. Because Gadsby, the story, is about this guy named Gadsby who's in this town that needs to be, like, improved, like, structurally, functionally, but also just, like, aesthetically, there needs to be improvements. And so he gets together the, like, youths of the town to, like, do fundraising and to encourage people to take more pride in their town and maybe even turn it into a city. That's the summary that's on the back of the book. That's also what happens in the first chapter. And I started reading the second chapter, and, like, it was, like, going back where, like, the, like, older people in the town were pushing back against these initiatives and not wanting to listen to the youths, and then the youths were convincing, like, it was the same thing again. And also, like, the way that the author got around the use of the letter E, my dad pointed out that it was like when I'm writing, like, a first draft and I'm just, like, over-explaining things, I'm just getting very wordy. Which is, I could see that. I was not offended. So, the main thing that convinced me was in the middle of the second chapter, there was a paragraph in parentheses where, I don't remember exactly what the author said, but essentially it was like, look, I was able to write this many words without the use of letter E. Isn't that impressive? And at that point I was kind of out. Because it felt less like I want to write a story and I want to give myself an extra challenge to see if I can write it without the letter E. It felt less like that and more like I can't get published writing my own story, so I'm going to come up with a gimmick where they have to publish me because it's so impressive to write a novel without using letter E. Like, that's what it felt like. So I texted my dad, and I'm like, so what? Like, I know this is my game, but what do we do if I DNF a consequence book? And it essentially, we landed on, hey, I tried it. And a consequence book is a consequence for a reason. So if ultimately I decide, like, nope, then okay. So, yeah, there was that. So, in the space of 1 week, I DNF'd 2 books. That's fine with me, honestly. I did finish reading How to Keep House While Drowning. I thought of a lot of the reframing was very useful because it's something that I so struggle with. The idea of, like, because my house is not always in order, I am failing at, like, being a homeowner or, you know, a wife or whatever. And so a lot of the reframes that she talked about I thought were very useful and are things that I'm trying to apply to myself. These systems that she talked about I think are also very useful. I just happen to have already developed my own systems. And so I'm not going to adopt hers because I've already stumbled into my own. But, like, that's kind of the thing, right? Is, like, you, like, copying her systems are not going to work for everyone. But it's designed to get you thinking about, like, what can you do that will function better in your house. So I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it was actually very easy to read, even though it took me a while. Like, for 150 pages, it should not have taken me 5 days. But it did. But that's just always the case with nonfiction. So, yeah, I thought it was really good. I gave it 5 stars. And it's gonna be somewhere in my house for me to look over when I need it. So, there was that. I'd say overall, this week was actually a pretty decent reading week. Even though I technically only finished 2 books. But I did read every day. So, yeah, there are those books out of the way. My February TBR, like, list looks crazy. Because there are 2 things just crossed off. So, I can't wait to see what February has in store for me. But if you watch this, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.